Hello everybody, Arco here, getting back to more Let's Play Trails in the Sky the Third. As we left off, we did yet another star door. And this time, we're going to do yet another star door. Countless battles are worthy of entering here. Upon finishing the fourth battle, will this door be opened? Got all the battles under my belt. Give me that memory frame and that blessing. Oh. Forward on the attack in Erebonia's Bracer Guilds. In Septian 1202, many of the branches of the Bracer Guild in Erebonia came under attack in quick succession. The perpetrators were an armed group, but all else about them was unknown, and the guild, along with all connected to it in the nation, fell into a state of confusion. Before long, the Orbital Communications Network in the capital was rife with calls and messages, and the situation grew increasingly grave. From Intelligence Division, 1st Subdivision, to General Staff Office. At dawn yesterday, the capital's guild houses were completely destroyed by powerful explosives. According to the 2nd Subdivision's analysis, the explosives were likely set directly below the buildings in the city's underground waterways. Judging by the explosives used and the means employed, this was the work of professionals, currently working to confirm the locations of potentially dangerous persons within the country. From ID 3rd Subdivision to ID 1st Subdivision. A Jaeger member has been found among those suspected of entering the country illegally. Confirmed to be responsible for logistics in the Jester Jaeger Corps. Keep an eye on the other members of the same corps in the country. From Erebonian Bracer Guild to Liberalian Bracer Guild Gransil Branch. At dawn today, the guild houses in Heimdall came under attack. We are unable to contact the bracers charged with overseeing them. We request the aid of high-ranking bracers. This is urgent. We repeat, this is urgent. From ID 1st Subdivision to General Staff Office. The Bracer Guild here in Erebonia has sent a message to the guild's Gransil Branch. Judging by the content of the message, at least one high-ranking bracer will be entering Erebonia in the coming days. We request they be pursued and put under strict surveillance upon arrival. Damn. 2 days after the assault began, Cassius Bright, S rank, arrived in the Imperial capital. He assumed the post of provisional representative of the Erebonian Guild. After doing so, he assessed the damage to the guilds and called for the bracers assigned to them, who had become scattered in the chaos, to reconvene outside the city. He also ordered a halt to all orbital communications to prevent interception by the enemy. By this point, guilds in 6 cities had been attacked, and the Bracer Guild in Erebonia was beginning to struggle to function. The branches that had yet been attacked requested the Army's protection. However, they seemed to be in no hurry to grant their support, making it clear that they could not be counted upon. Meanwhile, the provisional representative was able to estimate the rough location of the enemy supply base from their movements up to that point. And after choosing a small number of bracers who were familiar with the area, he sent them to try and find it. His reasoning for going with this approach was that he had concluded the enemy would have to build a supply base inside the country because of how strict Erebonia's border controls are. It did not take long for his lose the battle but win the war strategy to produce results. From ID 1st Subdivision to General Staff Office. The bracer sent by Liberal's Guild is confirmed to be one Cassius Bright. Bright is an S-rank bracer whose file in our subdivision has him rated as L4 threat, the 2nd highest level possible. He is also the man believed to have commanded the counteroffensive against the Imperial Army during the 100 Days War. May potentially pose a threat to national security, so he is being carefully watched. From ID 1st Subdivision to General Staff Office. Attempt to track Cassius Bright failed. Current whereabouts are unknown. However, as requested by HQ, we have not raised the alert level and left it as it stands. Several bracers are currently traveling aboard a train. We believe them to be taking part in some kind of operation. From ID 1st Subdivision to GSO. 6 bracers assaulted the Jaeger base. The Jaegers inside the base were apprehended. We have identified them to be members of the Jester Jaeger Corps. Discovery of the enemy's base revealed that it was the Jaeger Corps known as Jester who was behind the attacks. After this, however, the Jaegers' movements became much more passive and the two sides entered a deadlock. The stalemate continued for roughly 2 months. During this time, the guild representative made contact with the Intelligence Division and began preparing for an operation that would ultimately allow him to bring the trouble to an end. From ID First Subdivision to GSO. Cassius Bright has made contact with a member of our subdivision, currently in the process of confirming. From ID First Subdivision to GSO. The target, CB, has proposed a joint operation, intending to meet him again at a specified date and time. Strategic analysis of the Bracer Guild attack, ID Second Sub. What eventually broke the deadlock was a brilliant strategy devised by Cassius Bright. Having successfully made contact with a member of the ID, he made them send a message to HQ in the hopes it would be intercepted by the enemy. What happened was exactly that. From the message, they were able to deduce the time and place the next meeting would happen, and set about plotting his assassination. Exactly what Cassius Bright hoped would happen. During the meeting, Cassius Bright had also given the intelligence division member an encoded message. It contained the detailed plans for an operation in which the Imperial Army would defeat the Jaegers after they had been lured out by false information. The GSO chose to go ahead with the proposed plan, and after a joint operation with the Bracer Guild, the Jaegers who had gathered to assassinate Cassius Bright were surrounded and forced to surrender. Furthermore, the remnants of their forces who were in other bases were also defeated after the initial prisoners gave up their locations. Several months after the trouble began, Jester was completely dismantled. From ID First Subdivision to GSO. Raising the threat level of Cassius Bright, S-Rank Bracer, effective immediately. Henceforth, he will be regarded as an L5 threat. He poses a severe threat to national security and must be placed under strict surveillance if he ever enters the country again. From ID First Sub to GSO. Confirmed that the surveillance target left the country today. His departure was without incident. Handing control over the mission over to our foreign agencies. Transmission over. From GSO Special Investigative Department to His Excellency the Imperial Chancellor. We have also confirmed Cassius Bright's departure. We shall continue to pursue him, but he has not shown any suspicious behaviors to date. We have yet to confirm any interactions between him and the minstrel. We will continue to follow their movements. Side story: Assault on the Imperial Guild. Finished. Jagged armor. 10,000 euro. Alright, that was a nice easy one. Get off me. Oh yeah, that's all preemptive attacks now. Huzzah! Nice. Okay. Excuse me.
Let's go!
Strength plus 2%. You know what? Let's do it. Just club them to death. Alright. Alright. We're in. Let's rock this thing. Did Richard deal 5,000 damage in with a basic attack? Holy crap, Richard, you are a monster now. You are a literal freaking monster now. Jesus Christ, Richard. So that's strength 25, so 2686. Friggin' Richard is now a damn monster. Friggin' craziness. Friggin' Ren wins indeed. Huh, I went the freaking opposite direction I intended to go, but oh well. Yo, Richard's gonna some beast mode today. Yeah, freaking Richard's just gonna beast mode shit, huh? Wonderful.
Alright, what's next?
Oh my goodness gracious.
My, that was easy. Adequate.
Oh my. Well, once again, we're in for some fun times up ahead. No telling what it could be, but we'll have to walk through here eventually. Just take a deep breath and step inside, I guess. What? How'd we end up here? We walked straight in the opposite direction. Looks like there's some kind of condition for advancing into the next area in this case, too. I think we might actually need to have Reese with us. Do we now? Reese? Did you figure something out? If my other theory is right, and I think it is, this is a fairly safe deduction to make. Still, the fastest way to be sure is to give this a whirl. Let's get Reese and have her come with us. Alrighty. Sorry, Miss Annalise. Freaking, I love you and all, but...
I am ready.
Get her an Onyx gem. I know I have an extra Onyx gem around here. Come on now. She's not going to be casting anything. Yeah, why the hell not? Where's the parentheses? So she can keep using her good stuff too. Who has swiftness on? I thought it was Richard. No. It's Papa K. Take Falcon Eye off. I'm just trying to replace it with Sleep. Do I still keep Calamitous Blast? I don't. So what do I need for Calamitous Blast? You don't say. This gives me all the wind that I would need. That would give me all the wind I would need. Still, I freaking keep screwing it up. There we are. Where? I knew it. Oh? It's like we've ended up somewhere different entirely. Oh, you're right. Our childhood home? Wait, isn't that the church's emblem? Kevin. Welcome to Astor House, the place where Reese, Rafina, and I grew up together. So, I'm beginning to think that the Lord of Phantasma is Rafina. That's my assumption, anyway. Chapter 7, The Distant Flames. Astor House. This is only a copy of Astor House, yes? But it looks so... Yeah, I can barely bring myself to accept it's not the real thing. Everything from the feel of the earth underfoot to the smells in the air, just like the real thing. Yeah. So So this is where the two of you grew up? Judging by the emblem at the entrance, I take this as a facility operated by the Septian Church? That's right, it's what's called a gospel facility. Think of them as a cross between an orphanage and a monastery. I see. But then that would make you... Well, there is a dance around it, so yep, I'm an orphan. And how I came to be here is a story best saved for another day. It feels weird being back here again, though. It's been about 5 years. 5 very long years. Oh, excuse me. Well, anyway, we're bound to find some kind of clue as to how to get to the 7th lane somewhere in here. You guys up for having a look around the area with me? Yeah, let's go. This room's big. This is the living room where we used to have all of our meals. Just don't make the mistake of thinking it was a warm place like Mercia Orphanage. The matron here was a stubborn old sister who was strict as could be. Every mealtime we had to pray so much that our stomachs had given up getting fed by the end of it, and we got yelled at for the tiniest thing. That isn't keeping the kind of image one would expect from a church-run orphanage, though, I suppose. You deserved it all, in my opinion. You never did as you were told and caused her nothing but grief. Okay, I'll admit that's probably accurate, but still. As you probably guessed, this right here is the kitchen. This is where the older children of the facility did the cooking. It was also Ree's favorite place to sneak into whenever she had a hanker for some food. Kevin! There's a sight I can hardly imagine. How cute. Please don't take everything he says at face value. Well, anyway, this was always Rufina's turf back when she was still here. She was always out here around mealtime making food for me, Reese, and the other kids. After she left, Reese and I took over her position. That brings back memories. Of course, then you left too, leaving me to handle it all alone. The mere thought aggravates me. In fact, I think you should whip up something right now to make up for your selfishness. Yes, ma'am. I'll make you something later. The only thing less reliable than a promise with later attached to it is one said by you. I'm not going to get my hopes up. Man, no faith in me, huh? This was the matron's room. No one's here now, though. Yeah. By the way, Reese, how is the matron these days? She's fine. Her injuries weren't lasting. She hasn't had the energy she used to ever since retiring, unfortunately. She really wanted to see you again, Kevin. She did, huh? This here's the kids' bedroom. I slept here back when I was first taken in before graduating to the boys' bedroom. You never really did mix well with the other children. Rufina had such a hard time trying to get you to make friends with them. It was a real ordeal for her, you know. Yeah, I know. I was like a little hedgehog who didn't want to let anyone get near back then. I feel sorry for everyone who had to put up with me. I'm still amazed you even bothered trying to be friendly. Well, I knew you were only playing tough. Like that time when Rufina and the chocolate. Stop! We're not hearing that story here. Now I'm really curious. Oh, excuse me. This is the boys' bedroom, where I slept until I was about 10 years old. Technically, the boys and girls weren't supposed to enter one another's bedrooms. That never stopped Reese here from doing all of the time, though. What he neglects to mention is that it was his fault I did so. What else was I supposed to do when he slept in every morning? He was on cleaning duty. Well, you could have just knocked on the door until I got up. But then I'd disturb the other boys who were sleeping, which would have been unfair. They weren't the ones shirking their duties. It was 100% your fault. Fine, fine, whatever you say. This here's the girls' bedroom, the place where Rufina spent her nights. Same for you eventually, too, Reese. I even used to sleep with her from time to time. Her bed was always so cozy and smelled really nice. It was much nicer than sleeping in my own. After she left here, her bed became mine. I bet you were jealous. You bet. I was at the time, I'll admit. Oh, I thought you'd be a bit more flustered than that. I shouldn't have bothered saying anything. Give me a break. So there's only 2 buildings here, huh? door's stuck. The door is stuck fast. Doesn't have a keyhole. How does this door open? This is the side entrance that only opens from the inside. We can't get in from the outside. Yeah, if we want to get into the chapel, we're gonna have to go through the front. It's kind of silly. The door's locked. Figures. Is it locked? Yeah. Well, whatever. We can keep poking around. There's an empty well. We used to get our drinking water out of here. We had no fancy herbal pumps either. We did all use a good old-fashioned bucket with string attached. That was a nightmare. Tell me about it. We would go out on winter mornings and come back with our hands numb and red raw. But looking back on the whole experience now, it was fun in its own way. I guess it was. I don't think there's too much extra poking around I can do. We went down Super Memory Lane. Door's locked. So now what do I do? There's an empty well. That's a lovely stained glass. Do I have to go read the diary on the friggin' in one of the upstairs rooms? There was a diary up there in like the boys' room. Or a journal or whatever they want to call it. Huh. Am I just gonna have to freaking leave? I think I'm just gonna have to leave. I'll try to anyway. Huh. No? I'm so confused now. Where do I gotta go? What do I gotta investigate? Did I break the game? The door is locked. But where's the key? Huh. Huh. I'm freaking lost as heck now. Well, I'll meet you guys back here when I can find something. Alright, we're back, and I think I figured it out. Yep, that's dumb. It's because I entered the door from the other side, or exited from the other side. That's really dumb. There's no sign of anything in there. Well, that soap seems to be the chapel. So it seems. What is it, Kevin? Hey, Reese? You're the one responsible for cleaning the chapel that day, right? What day? On Astor House's final day. When Rufina died? Oh-ho! That's what I was told when I went to visit the matron afterward, at least. Well, were you? Yeah, I was. Why? I thought so. Check your pockets, Reese. I'm pretty sure the chapel key's in one of them. Huh? Reese began checking her pockets of her habit. Eventually, she found the old brass key. It can't be. Oh my. I see now. I suppose this is not just another manifestation of this world's ability to make thoughts into reality. Honestly, I wasn't entirely sure you'd find it in there, but in all the other areas on this plane, there's always a reason to take the person we needed with us. This just goes to show that you really were meant to come here, Reese. But, no. As disbelieving as I am, this is definitely the chapel's key. I suppose all we can do right now is to try and go inside. Yeah. Alright, one moment. The door's locked. Before we go in there, Reeves, there's something I should warn you about. Once we step through that door, there will be no going back. You're going to find out the truth about what happened that day. All of it, and you won't like it. Are you sure you're ready for what you're about to find? Let's use that key. I'm more than ready. All these years, I've never quite been able to accept what happened here. The life I thought I knew just suddenly came to an end, with us all getting moved to other places, and I still don't even know why. I even tried to come back here just before beginning my training to become a squire, but it had already been demolished. I've been ready for a long time. I want to know the truth, and more than anything, I feel like knowing will let me get closer to you and Rufina. Okay, let's head on in then. Right. Say, would it be best if the rest of us stayed outside? No, actually I'd prefer if you came in with me. This is relevant to you guys too, in a sense. It all started 5 years ago. A Jaeger Corps someone had hired took this place out of nowhere. By the way, how much do you remember of that day, Reese? Just so I know. I just remember a group of men in black forcing their way through the gate and charging in here. They tied everyone up, took the matron up to the second floor, and then, next thing you knew, you were in a bed in the hospital in town, right? Afterwards, you found out that Rufina and I had come to rescue everyone, and that she died in the process. That about right? Mm-hmm. Just what happened, Kevin? All I've heard is that it was the work of someone who opposed the church, but I haven't had a chance to meet you since then, much less ask you about it. I tried asking Instructor Selnite about it, but she wouldn't say a word. That doesn't surprise me. The Gralsritters commander can't admit this orphanage was being used as a smokescreen for an artifact that they needed sealing away. What? Here we go. A secret passage? Wait! If there was an artifact here, you don't mean... Yep. Below here is the primal ground used to seal artifacts away. Just like the one under Grancel Cathedral. I'm sure you remember that day it all happened. Rufina and I were due to come back here for the first time in a while. We were both coming from different places we'd been sent, so we wanted to meet up in town and come the rest of the way here together. But then her train got delayed, leaving me in town to wait for her alone. That was when I got word of what happened. All I could think was that you and the other kids were in danger, so I decided to try and take out the Jaegers here alone. They weren't all that experienced, so fighting them wasn't even hard for a squire like me. Before long, I was able to disable them all and free the matron and the other kids. Or so I thought. You were nowhere to be seen. I asked the other kids where you were. They told me one of the Jaegers had taken you somewhere else and that you were unconscious. I looked frantically all over trying to find you before eventually stumbling across this place. As for how, you remember how you didn't have your ribbon in your hair when you woke up, Reese? I do. What does that have to do with anything? I found that ribbon in front of the secret passage we'd just gone through, and there were new footprints near it too. Made it easy to find the entrance. Oh. Anyway, after getting in here, I made my way down the staircase in pursuit of the Jaeger that had taken you. Hey, Reese, do you remember what I was like back when you first met me? Yeah, I was still young at the time, but it's as fresh as if it were only yesterday. You looked like you'd been swallowed by a blackness, like there wasn't a single thread of hope bound to you. It was scary. I kept wondering what must have happened to you, what you must have seen to make you end up that way. What must have happened to me, huh? Rufina seemed like she knew. Before I met you, I killed my mom. Maybe killed isn't the right expression. It's not like I directly did it. I still let her die, though. I've still got a lot of responsibility for what happened. Growing up, it was basically me and my mom for the most part. My father showed his face from time to time, but not that much. From what I understand, he had another family elsewhere. But even without him, she did her best to look after me on her own. I loved her dearly. Kids in the neighborhood used to make fun of me for how I talked, which I got from her. But I just beat them up most of the time. She was always kind. She loved cooking, and yeah, I thought the world of her. When I was 7, my father, who had all the money in the world, chose to abandon her. At the best of times, she was always a frail person, and after that, she grew more and more despondent. Her health suffered. I tried everything a kid could do to cheer her up, but nothing I did worked. And during one winter's day, when she must have finally had enough, she came over while I was sleeping and tried to strangle me. I'm so sorry, Kevin. I failed as your mother. But I'm so tired. I'm so tired. At least this way. At least this way, the two of us can. I guess you figured that if we were both going to suffer, we might as well take the easy way out as a family. But I wouldn't let her take me with her. Before I knew what I was doing, I'd pushed her aside and ran barefoot out into the snow. I wandered around for a while after that. I couldn't understand what had happened or what she'd been trying to do. Eventually, I could feel myself getting hungry. I thought that maybe she'd be able to clear her head. I made my way back home, nervous as could be, and... oh, shit. Oh. My God. Kevin, man. Wow. I did not see any of that coming. Sorry for making you listen to all this. Still, I think that's probably when it happened. When my stigma was carved inside of me. What? What is this place? Who would have thought a place like this existed under an orphanage? This was here where I finally caught up to the Jaeger who had you with him. He probably didn't think anyone was going to come after him. The second he saw me, he panicked. Putting his gun down, he ran over to this pedestal right in front of us. On it was the artifact that required sealing away. I mentioned earlier, the Spear of Loa. What's the Spear of Loa? A malignant spear that transforms the body of its wielder into that of a monster. It's hard to believe something like that could be a gift from the goddess, right? In any case, the cornered Jaeger grabbed it and used it. I didn't stand a chance. Much as I tried, I wasn't any match for the inhuman monster before me. He knocked me to the ground and then went to raise the spear against the still unconscious you. That's all it took. My stigma drew all of the spear's power from it into itself, and blasted it, magnified countless times over, into the Jaeger's body. The result wasn't even a battle. Our precious home became a slaughterhouse. By the end, he wasn't even recognizable, just thousands of lumps of flesh strewn all over the floor. After defeating him, my stigma's power was still coursing through my body. I'd never experienced anything like that before. I lost complete control of myself. At this point, Rufina arrived, and she seemed to understand exactly what had happened. Using her bowgun and Templar sword, she was able to separate me from you and prevent me from doing you any harm. And then... oh. So... an uncontrollable Kevin killed Rufina while trying to protect Reese. Holy shit. When I returned to my senses, I was in her arms, dumbfounded. Her body was full of holes all over, but she hugged me as tightly as she could. That's how she drew her last breath. No! There it is, the truth you wanted. It wasn't that I couldn't save Rufina. I was the one who killed her, with my own hands, right in front of you. But you didn't! I didn't want to? Maybe not, but that's just an excuse. If I'd been able to control my stigma's power instead of letting it consume me and fill me with bloodlust, it wouldn't have happened. If I wasn't so weak, she'd still be alive today. That's not all, either. Looking at her standing before me at that moment, she reminded me of my mother. She reminded me of Mom when she came to strangle me. Suddenly, this feeling of betrayal welled up inside of me, this desire for revenge, so I filled her full of spears. I loved them both. I wanted to protect them both. And what did I do? I killed them both. Me. Why did I what? Why didn't you tell me this before? 5 years apart and this is the first time you're telling me this? Sorry, I know I should have done it earlier, but now I have and I'm ready for the consequences. So go on, if you want to avenge her, do it. If anything, it'd make me happy if you did. You're so stupid! What are you? You think I want to avenge her? That's not why I'm angry at all. Why have you shouldered a burden that great all this time all on your own? We're family, Kevin. Why didn't you ever talk to me? Why didn't you ever let me hug you? Why didn't you let me do anything to help you? Reese, I finally understand. I always thought you were hunting down heretics as some kind of atonement for letting Rufina die. But that's not it at all, is it? Come on, Reese. I finally understand. You don't want to atone for anything. You don't want to get rid of your sense of guilt at all. You... That's right, he wants to be punished for what he did. Oh, so this is the Lord of Phantasma. So that's what they look like, huh? You have my congratulations on making it this far. Beyond here lies the 7th plane, the place of my birth and the foundation of all planes hereafter. Thought so. And judging by how we have to go through here to get there, I was right, wasn't I? Right about what? Allow me to ask you once again. So, Kevin Grant, do you really want to see the face underneath this mask? Damn right I do. It's time you take that creepy mask thing off and show us who you really are. Rufina Argent! With pleasure. I called it. Rufina? I've missed you dearly, Reese. And as for you, Kevin, I'm impressed you're able to work out my real identity. It wasn't hard, I had a feeling from the start. The answer was right in front of my face the whole time, and your every taunt should have made me that much more sure. The only reason I couldn't be until now is because I didn't want to accept the truth. Quite. You always were a weakling. You can imagine how surprised I was when you were able to defeat my strongest knight. You talked about the Blade Lord? What connection does he have to you, anyway? I met him through my work, about 6 years ago. We were enemies at the time, but we managed to reach a compromise of sorts, and he felt he owed me a debt for as such. Alright, so you ended up summoning him in order to have him repay it? It's a crafty move, but that's not so out of character for you. Flattery won't get you anywhere with me. Still, now that you've made it this far, I assume you understand what I'm trying to do? Yeah, and I'm ready. Take me away. Wait! What are you two talking about? I would have thought you worked the answer to that out already, Reese. Do you recall what I said before? Kevin wants to be punished. Then you... I was born here in order to give him the punishment he strives for with his every breath. It was to that end that I recreated Phantasma into its current form and welcomed all of you here. All this was a result of Kevin's desires. He wanted this to happen. You're lying! Sorry, she isn't. I couldn't tell you why it all actually happened, but what she says is true. No! The 7th plane is likely to be somewhere made for the express purpose of punishing me over and over. A fitting hell for someone who let his own mother die and killed Rufina to suffer and rot. And once I'm dropped down there, this will all be impossible. I mean, I suppose it makes sense, but I still can't understand why. Reese? What do you think you're doing, Reese? That's not a very nice thing to do to your sister. Shut up! You're not my sister. My sister would never do something like this. Never! Reese. You promised me, Kevin. You promised me that you'd never do anything that would make Rufina sad. So what do you think you're doing? How could you believe sacrificing yourself for what everyone would make her happy? Reese, stop. Who are you to say it wouldn't? I might not be the real Rufina, but I'm a very close copy of her. If Kevin wants to be punished, why wouldn't I give him his wish? Because that's not how Rufina was at all. She'd never indulge something like that. Not in 1,000 years. Think back to when you first met us, Kevin. You'd given up on the world, just like you wanted to disappear. But did she let you do that? No! She forced chocolate down your throat and dragged you right back into the real world. Even when you didn't want to, whether you liked it or not. She... Well, this is a surprise. You've grown a lot more than I was expecting if you're able to talk back to me. Stop talking to me as if you're my sister. You are not, and I won't stand for you defiling her any further. Well, if that's how you want to do things, perhaps I should invite you in Kevin's place. Me? No! The rest of you can stand by and watch. What? It's the Evil Eye! Reese! Stop this, Rufina. She's got nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but she has. Consider this another part of your punishment. After all, if she suffers for all eternity in your place, that's going to make your suffering all the more potent, isn't it? Please, go ahead and do your worst. Oh? Reese? Drop me wherever you like. I'll live. I'm never going to let Kevin be alone again. I will come back to him. Haha, fighting words, my sweet sister. We shall see whether you can make it without them. Ah! Ah! Kevin? Ah! Hey. Hey, Reese. Up. Cute hair under the habit. Ah. You okay? Feeling any pain? No, I'm okay, I think. But why are you? I fell through that crack alone. So why are you? You big dummy! Clunk. Me? What were you thinking with all that taunting? Go ahead and do your worst. Drop me wherever you like, I'll live. And just how do you know you'll live? Oh, right, you don't! But you're a squire, aren't you? A rookie like you with no experience or proper judgment has no business making calls that put your own safety at risk. If you can't promise to never do that again, then you and I both know you're not cut out to be part of the girls' ritter. That's probably what I should be saying anyway. But it'd be real rich coming from me, huh? So I'll let you off with that little bop there. Huh? Look around us. This is it, the 7th plane. Wow. Gehenna. Effectively, hell. Gehenna. Yep, just like the Testament's brought to life. And I'm the one responsible for bringing it all. Oh. After all, if there's one place that's possible, it's Phantasma. I don't know how Rufina came back, but she did, with both memories and personality intact. And now I have the good fortune of being punished by one of the very people I wronged. I really couldn't think of a more fitting punishment for a bastard like me. Everything she said was dead on. More than anything, I wanted to be punished. I figured that by accepting that punishment, all this would be done and everyone else could go back to their lives. I thought I could be just like her, sacrificing my own life so everyone else could be saved. But that wouldn't make me like her at all, would it? No, she might have given up her life to save ours, but that wasn't because she was happy to throw away her life to protect someone else's. It was because she saw literally no other option. With me unconscious, she didn't even have the choice to retreat. There was no way out of the situation without one of the three of us losing our lives. That's the only reason she chose to do what she did. Yeah, she was never the kind of person who would praise self-sacrifice as some kind of virtue. She only ever accepted it as an option if all others had been exhausted, and it truly was the only way. Right, but this time, that's not the case. You're here, I'm here, all of our friends are here. If we put our heads together, I'm sure we could have found another way out of here. One where no one would have to die. You must have realized that, and yet you tried to take the easy way out, didn't you? I hate to say it, but yeah, I did. That's a pretty shameful thing for a Dominion to be doing, huh? See, I've got no right to be criticizing you. I'm even less fit to be a knight than you. Still, standing around lamenting my own failings isn't gonna get us anywhere. So if you're up for walking, let's get ourselves out of here. Come again? What are you looking so surprised for? You didn't think I was gonna stay here and accept being punished for all eternity, did you? Well, either that or stay here and wait for Rufina to show up again. Listen here, Reese. I'm not going to deny that there's part of me, a big part, that wants to be punished for what I did. Or that there's a part of me that was overjoyed to see Rufina again, however it came to be. But I'm not alone down here. You're here with me, and believe me, that changes everything. As long as you're here, I'm not staying in this hellhole a second longer than I have to. We're getting out of here, you and me, no matter what it takes. Right. Right! Alright, we're gonna leave it there. Seems pretty fitting. Well then everybody, this has been Ark Nova playing Trails in the Sky the Third. Until next time, stay cool.